Hello, everyone. James Wilson here, and we are on lesson number 4, the fourth state out of the 50 states that we're doing this analysis lesson, and that's the state of Arkansas. So, Arkansas has trended to the right by 0.4%. So, it was one of those 7 states that actually trended to the right. And there's some things that I have noticed that are very interesting. And I'm going to add another thing to this video. I'm still going to make it under 10 minutes. But I'm going to add a new dimension. And that is cities. So when you look at a state and how it trends, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the raw vote data, but I'm also going to take a look at the bigger cities in the state. So in this situation, Little Rock and Fayetteville are the 2 biggest cities in Arkansas. There may be some states where I do 1 city. There may be some states where I do 5 or 6 cities, like Florida or California or something like that, to kind of analyze it. But in this particular state, I just decided to do 2. So we're going to analyze how it compares, how the trends compare to the cities in these red states and blue states. And we're going to compare the numbers. So let's go ahead and get started here. First, we'll take a look at the statewide voting. So in the state of Arkansas, in 2016, the Conservatives had 698,127. The Liberals with 389,967. As you can tell, the voting increased again, and like in every state. The Conservatives gained 62,520. They had a total of 760,647, and the Liberals with 423,932. That's a difference of 33,965. So the Republicans actually gained, the Conservatives actually gained the votes on the voting differences. So this is somewhat similar to Alabama, where Trump gained the votes and the differences between the Conservatives and the Liberals. But there's something that kind of stuck up, like a 10-foot pole almost, and that's the cities. The cities didn't trend to the right, folks, and there's actually a lot more voting in the cities. So I want to talk about that. It's very interesting. I want to talk about that. So we're going to take a look at the county in Little Rock here. When you take a look at the numbers, Trump only gained 2,505 votes in the Little Rock from 2016 to 2020. I mean, you can tell here that it's extremely tight as far as the voting is concerned. But when you look at the Liberals, they gained a lot more votes, 12,570, which actually trended to the left, 10,015. I find that very interesting because when you look at these data numbers, you will see that Democrats outvoted Republicans 5-1 in the voting differences. So where are these votes coming from? That's the question that I want to ask. Where are these votes coming from? Are there, many people moving to Little Rock, or what's going on? It's not. I mean, obviously 12,570. When you compare it to the whole state, it's not a whole lot. But it's something that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. So the question is, what's going on? And in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is the second largest state, it trended to the left as well, even though Trump won it both times. You can see, and these are smaller numbers. When you look at these numbers, they are smaller. And still, you're looking at 11,528 voting difference. You're looking at a lot more votes for Joe Biden. Joe Biden probably gained about a quarter of 25% more voting in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And so when you look at the conservatives, yeah, they gained votes as well, 7,086, but the Democrats still control the cities. And it seems to me what's going on here is the Democrats are controlling the cities. Now I want to do one on Arkansas, on Arizona. I wanted to do a city comparison in Arizona because that trended to the left heavily, but we're going to do that in another video. We're just going to talk about Arkansas. So why did Arkansas trend to the right? I mean, you have 7 out of 50 states trended to the right. I mean, I can list them. One of them is Florida for sure. You have, as far as the trends are concerned, you got Arkansas, California, you got Florida, you got Hawaii, Illinois, New York, and Ohio. Okay, it's kind of randomized when you think about it. And so Arkansas, I mean, Arkansas borders, borders Texas, it borders Louisiana, you know, Louisiana trended to the left a little bit, but it barely trended to the right. And assuming that this is a legitimate election, the reason that maybe it's because Hillary Clinton, is the wife of Bill Clinton, and he was the governor of Arkansas. Maybe that's why it trended to the right, because Hillary Clinton wasn't on the ballot. And the state of New York also trended to the right, so maybe because she was the senator, maybe that's why it trended to the right. I don't know, folks. But I find it interesting. As I said, when you want to look for fraud, you want to look outside of the box. You want to look at all the states and see what's going on everywhere. Because you can look at, Georgia, and you can look at Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. You can look at all these states, and if you don't take a step back and look at all of the states and see how they trended and see if there's a consistent pattern to this, then you're not really going to know or have a good idea if fraud really occurred. So right now, based on the numbers, yeah, it trended to the right, but the major cities trended to the left. But Trump, as I said, he got way more voting in this state, and maybe it was because of Clinton. But Joe Biden got more votes than Clinton did. So I don't know, So let me know what you think about that. I find it interesting. Maybe more conservatives are moving to Arkansas. You have a lot of rural areas here, not a whole lot of cities in Arkansas. So maybe they decided to come out and vote more compared to 2016. That's kind of what I'm thinking. When you look at here, it actually trended to the right a little bit when I looked at these counties, and I know a lot of them are African American counties. Predominantly African American, so I find that very interesting. But this leads me to believe in the state of Arkansas, Biden gained votes from young voters. That's what that tells me. So Biden gained votes from young voters because, and you just got to believe me, I'm keeping this under 10 minutes, but in these African American counties, it actually trended to the right. Biden lost some votes in some of these counties, but in Little Rock, it trended to the left pretty heavily. So that tells me, yeah, there may be some, African Americans that live out here that maybe voted this time for Biden. I mean, who knows? But when you look at, the race as a whole and how this trended to the right and how this trended to the left, you got to imagine that it's actually the young voters that voted for Biden this time. And I know it's only a small quantity. It's around 12 or 13,000 vote difference, but it just tells you that the younger population, they didn't like Hillary Clinton, they hated Donald Trump, and they decided now go ahead and vote for old Grandpa Joe Biden. He seems harmless to me. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in 2022 and 2024. But yeah, at the end of the day, Arkansas trended to the right. Like and subscribe to my channel. Any comments would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.